lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. He missed the complete. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He sliced through. He tags Richard.
Hello and welcome to Irwindale Speedway for round 4 of a 2016 Premier Racing League Coastal Safety Auditors Grand National Series. This is the race for Laura Lymphoma Awareness 125 and we're going to have it all live for you here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Samuel Ryman and alongside me in the booth is Michael Smith. Behind the scenes is our director Joe Peak and our camera sets are provided by Dougie Beard. Smithy, after racing at Daytona, Rockingham and Las Vegas, these drivers find themselves at a racetrack that these cars are not that familiar with. Tell us a little bit about Irwindale Speedway.
Well, Sam, this track will be a stark contrast to what these drivers have seen thus far, tackling the tricky half mile that is Irwindale Speedway. Not only does the length of this track make it tough, but also it throws a bit of a curveball at drivers with its progressive banking, ranging from 6 towards the bottom to 12 degrees right up next towards the wall. Former home of the NASCAR All-Star Showdown, Irwindale has hosted some of the biggest races on the West Coast when it comes to both late model and modifieds, but it's now perhaps better known for the home of Formula D. Tonight, however, the drivers of the Premier Racing League will be looking to do anything but drift around this place as they look to come out on top after about 125 laps. One of the nice things that these guys are going to have going for them too is that it'll actually all be on the same setup. There's fixed setups in this series, and with fuel only at about 60%, that means they'll only have to make about one stop with 11 gallons in the tank. If things could go green the whole way, we'll only see that one stop, but I've got a feeling here it's a short track. We'll probably be seeing that color yellow flying from the flag stand once or twice tonight.
Yes, but these drivers, and let's have a look at how they sit in the championship. It seems to be a very small pool of drivers that have been racing in the series so far, Smithy. Not to say small fields or anything. I mean, there's 24 in total, and in fact, we're going to have 20 drivers here today. You get an idea of the points there. Win locks you in. There will be 12 drivers who make it into the chase at the end of the season. There you can see Mark Nobert has his 18 points to the good, ahead of a driver 13th in points. Paul Pepper is far behind. That being said, this is only round 4, and there is a long way to go before the chase begins. But the thing about having a smaller pool of drivers here, Smithy, about 20, 25 or so, is that they all get to know each other better, and hopefully, usually, that means they're all much more, they race each other much more respectfully, and we get less incidents during the race.
Well, absolutely. It's one of the things, if you get a chance to run with the same guys every time, you're going to be a lot more comfortable, as you say. And I talked to James a little bit about the little bit smaller field they have here compared to the other two series that they run in the Premier Racing League. And he said that, yeah, it might be a little bit smaller, but the racing has been really, really good. And a lot of that just stems from these guys all running with each other on a regular basis, not just in this series, but in the Cup Series and the Sportsman Truck Series that they also run. Yeah, and that's what you say there with the point standings. It also could be that we see some guys who maybe don't run the first part of the season, but come in a little bit later, as all you need is a win to lock yourself into that chase.
Absolutely, and we're seeing a few of these drivers on screen right now. There you see the number 77 being driven by John Martin. He's third fastest in warm-up right now. This is a warm-up session they have going on. They have already done practice and qualifying, so these drivers really trying to get used to having these high-powered cars on this small circuit. And, you know, that's a bad news there already, thinking about the amount of wheel spin on the exits that generates. And then you've got to consider the fact that they don't have, that they're not able to play with their setup. They have the iRacing fixed setup, or a derivative of that. Either way, they all have the same setup as each other. And also, something I'm noticing here, Smithy, is a track temperature. 113 degrees Fahrenheit. That's very hot, and that's going to make it very slick for these cars out there.
Yes, it is, and like you said, the combination of not just the horsepower, that extra horsepower that you normally see circulating around Irwindale, but also the hot temperatures are going to mean, yeah, grip is going to be tough. We see drivers already getting sideways a little bit as they come off the corners. I got a chance to come out here and play with these guys in their afternoon practice, and yeah, having the right foot being able to be smooth is going to be real important.
Now, something else that could come into play here, or actually it might not come into play as much as what it would other tracks, is there is no fast repairs and also no incident limit. However, that's a bit of bad news there, Smithy, because no fast repairs doesn't usually mean a whole lot at a short track, because the wrecks don't cause as much damage as, say, somewhere like Atlanta Motor Speedway. And also, there's no incident limit, which means they could bump as much as they'd like. However, that'll work. You'll still be able to get a top 10 if you spin a couple of times. But I have a feeling 125 laps sounds like a lot, but it's going to fly by, considering how short these laps are. If you want to come home with a victory today, you're going to want to keep all four wheels pointing in the right direction.
Absolutely. A sub 19-second lap around Irwindale here, and with you running the high side right next to the wall, your chances of getting a little bit of a stripe on the side is going to be a thing. And yeah, it's short track racing, so you're going to be right next to everybody while you do it. You can get away with having a little bit of damage out here as long as you don't knock the toe out too bad and things like that. Aerodynamics not exactly a big factor, but yeah, keeping all four tires on is going to be important, and at least being around at the end will be big.
Alright, we might be about to lose visual here for a moment, but we will continue to... there we go, now you get an idea of other broadcasts that will be coming up in the next week or so. We will be back in plenty of time before the race starts, so we're going to keep previewing the race for you here. And another thing we need to talk about, Smithy, is pit road. James Krahula, one of the drivers in this race. In fact, James leads the points right now, and he is 7th fastest in warm-up. He was telling us ahead of this race that there is a chance you could lose a lap even if you pit under caution here.
Oh, it is. It's a very, very short pit road as far as the actual length it is, but it's not a whole heck of a lot shorter than the track itself. And if you actually mess things up or get it wrong or what have you, yeah, you can go a lap down if you're not spot on or if you're in the tail part of the lap. Coming into the pits, you're going to be coming off of 100 some miles an hour to just 35. So being smooth on that if it happens to be green. Yeah, you're going to have to make sure you just keep your head screwed on straight and be smart as you go through all the motions.
And there you see we have got visual back, and now we're watching Jody Green in the number 13 go around the track in 13th place. And in the points right now, I'm taking a look at them. I think this might actually be his first race of the season. And that race, as we were mentioning earlier, is the race for Laura Lymphoma Awareness 125. If you are watching on our YouTube, obviously, let's backtrack a little bit here. Obviously, all of our thoughts are with Laura here. She's fighting cancer. She was working for PSR TV and now, sorry, LSR TV. I'm sorry, my dyslexia that apparently I have coming through there. And so obviously all our thoughts are with her tonight, and they're putting this show on for her tonight. But if you are watching from our YouTube stream, and if you're not, you could find it GSR channel on YouTube. There is a link in the description of that video that will take you to a website that you can help that cause, and we encourage you by all means to do that. And obviously our best thoughts are with Laura, and hopefully we'll put on a good show for her tonight.
Yeah, it's a great cause. We've seen a lot of different organizations jump on board that kind of deal, so hats off to PRL for making it happen here tonight. And as you say, these guys should be playing a pretty good show. They're doing a pretty good job of it in warm-up. This is a pretty fun-loving bunch. You see a lot of sideways and kind of messing around a little bit. They've had a good amount of practice, and they kind of know how to get around this joint. So you see them drifting around, playing around. They're practicing a little Formula D, even though they don't have to do it during the race.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see the times are quite spread out during practice, right? During warm-up right now, Smithy, and that could be just different agendas these drivers are on. Some seeing how fast they could hot lap it in the short run. Some thinking about the long run, how many laps they could get on a set of tyres, because they could get up to 80 laps if we stay green, but as we mentioned earlier, we don't really anticipate that. But there is 0.8 of a second difference between the fastest and the slowest drivers in warm-up, and that's actually a pretty big difference considering you're talking about such a small racetrack.
Yeah, 0.8 right now in warm-up, as you say, a little bit different, agendas, etc. going on out there. And qualifying seems a little bit closer. It's only about 0.6 or so, 6-7 so not still a bit of a difference there. It's going to really come down to being smart. With such a tight group, you're going to be able to find a little bit of time by following a little bit, taking care of your equipment, not burning the tires off. It's really, really easy to get a push developing on the exit of both turns 2 and turn 4 here at Irwindale. Even with the setup that they're running, a little bit of a modified IRP set, sounds like, with the gear change, talking to James, but everybody is running the same thing. So as a driver, you can do a lot to manipulate how your car is going to do, and we may be seeing some of that playing around here tonight in the warm-up.
Let's try and get an onboard on one of these cars around here as they're just finishing that warm-up now. Maybe we could do that on board Randy Yoakum. Look at that wall there on the exit of turn 1, and we'll see it again in about 20 seconds time. No, we won't, because it looks like Randy is off the pace. But actually, what it ends up doing is going outside of a racetrack. And what happens if you go into there on iRace in no man's land is it will essentially just assume that you've it would be like you flipped upside down. You'll be towed back to pit road and have to sit there in 2 or 3 minutes. And the reason I mention it is because I actually saw it happen to a car in warm-up just a moment ago. But if you do go out there, you will soon find that car sitting down pit road, and it will be there for a little while. Here it is, coming up on the outside of turn 1, right there.
Yeah, that's actually the entrance to to one of the pit roads there, to the garage area, if you will, here at Irwindale. Irwindale is actually not too far from where I live, only about 30 or so minutes away here in California. And they don't typically use the inside for pit lane. It's what they would use during the All-Star Shootout, or the Showdown. Now, tonight, it's going to be used as pit road. But as you see on screen, you can see how congested things can get. Running right up by the wall is going to be one of the fastest ways around, and what makes passing get down low like they're doing, even though you see it darker down there, what's tough is that variable banking, that 6 and 8 to 12 all the way up. Being on the high side is faster. You got to try to get down low to make it pass, but then she gets real tight as you come off. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys adapt to as they go on.
They are running very tight in this level pack here. We've been watching it for a few laps right now, and they've been fairly clean, although you do see the odd car who's spinning off. Even the cleanest race on iRacing will have plenty of crashes during practice just by drivers pushing it, and there you see another car biting the dust right there. Just 1 minute left of warm-up, and then we will get them gridded up for you. We have 20 cars in the session. All 20 have turned a lap during warm-up within 0.8 of a second of one another. They will be racing for 125 laps around here, and there is a time limit on the race. Hopefully we won't hit it, but that is 90 minutes long.
And we should be in pretty good shape with this group of drivers to be able to get around here. Actually, 20 is a really good showing for these guys. We had 19 drivers in the opener at Daytona, and 18 after that. Not too many at the Las Vegas round last week, but 20 drivers. Believe it or not, here at Irwindale, the biggest turnout we've had so far. Only about 30 seconds or so left of warm-up. Some of the guys to watch out for in this series. How about the guys who are going to be starting towards the sharp end here? You got James Krahula and Jake Wright. Jake Wright right now is leading the warm-up. Krahula is going to be the pole sitter. These two guys actually tied in qualifying, with the nod going to Krahula. So 2 guys to automatically watch for, the 2 guys starting on the front row.
Yeah, and let's give a shout out to Jake right here, because he's currently sitting second in the points. As you mentioned, he's up there in qualifying, and he is going to be the fastest driver in warm-up, because you will momentarily see all of the cars disappear from your screen because the checkered is out in warm-up, and we're about to get gridded up for the race session. That being said, Jake Wright has yet to have a win to his name this season. The only drivers who have are James Krahula, Tommy Ryan, and Jody Green. Anyhow, the grid is getting formed on the front straight right now, and it is James Kahula who has the pole position. As you mentioned, identical times to Jake Wright. Only 0.02 of a second behind him was Ryan Howard. He will line up in third, alongside Pierre Daigle, Jason Galvin, and Jesse Fowler will round out the third row, Smithy.
After that, you got Ricky Harden in P7. Alongside him, DJ Beverly and Jody Green, the Daytona winner, in P9. Tommy Ryan, last round's winner, is going to line up alongside him in 10th. Then Chad Stallman and Billy Tungate for the top 12.
Yeah, and then pretty much rounding out the field here in 13th place is Mark Knobert, and then Don Runkle Jr. in 14th, Mark Allen, Paul Pepper. The row behind them, Jeff Ryan in 17th. Del Mears, John Martin, and Randy Yoakum did not set a time during qualifying, so they will start at the back of the field. And by the way, let's give a proper shout out to James Kahula here. He is the winner of a Savage Spinners Pole Award. Savage Spinners presenting the pole position to James Kahula, and he will gladly take it from the front of the field. And I think we're going to have 2 pace laps here because it's such a short track to get the field organised. And sure enough, here comes the pace car around to complete the first lap. Hopefully we won't see the pace car complete too many laps today, but I have a feeling it is inevitable.
Yeah, as you say, hopefully we do not see a lot of the yellow, and hope we see a lot more racing. I'm excited with 20 cars. Should be a heck of a lot of fun.
So, James Kahula starting on the bottom. He'll look to try and get the jump on Jake Wright into the first turn, because we know Wright is very fast. But also Wright has the desired line right now. With that progressive banking, the track temperature is 113 degrees. The car is off. It's a hot day here at Irwindale. And we are green flag. It is getting hotter. James Kahula is not able to get upstairs. Jake Wright is alongside him. As they go down the backstretch, it might not be Kahula leading the first lap.
It's crazy. We had 3 wide there for a moment. Now still trying to figure it out. 2 wide in the back. Still 2 wide towards the front. They're starting to single file up. You got Kahula up the inside. Not willing to give it up yet, but 27. That is right on the outside. Going to get him clear here with that outside momentum.
And Kahula is able to get single file, although he's not happy with losing that lead. He gets alongside Wright. Ryan Howard is the driver sitting in third. And the problem with the progressive banking is that James tries to make a move on Jake and fails. He could be challenged from behind by Ryan Howard. But as you mentioned, Smithy, the field has pretty much got single file all the way through in just 3 laps.
Well, they're trying to think about how to get on that high side. You're going to see everybody try to get a little bit higher. You can carry a little bit more speed, even though we do see Kahula eking down there by the dashed line. He's still trying to find a little bit of a hole to get inside if you can. The more you get down there, though, the more you're going to start working that right front tire. These guys are obviously going to want to try and be on the high side most of the day.
Jason Galvin in 4th position actually had a big slide coming out of turn 4 last time around. We've already talked about how easy that is to do, but meanwhile we do have a battle for the lead as Kahula's got up alongside Wright. But as you mentioned, Smithy, if he can't pull this off, that's actually going to hurt him in the long run, because not only could he lose 2nd position to Ryan Howard, but it could burn his tyres off, and Howard is alongside Kahula now.
Yeah, and there, right, that's exactly the danger you fall in there. If you don't get it done, you can't slot back in. You see the next driver try to make it happen. There's a bit of a wiggle there from Galvin. P4 trying to keep things in line with that Pennzoil machine. You see a little bit in front of him starting to ease in as Kahula now back into 2nd. He's able to slot in there. Let's see if he cools off those tires, and she has to reel back in right there in the 27.
Yeah, that's the 2nd time in about 3 laps that Galvin has made that mistake in turn 4, and if he does it again, he could fall victim to Ricky Hardin, because Hardin started in 7th, and he is already looking for 4th position on lap 8. Look at him, just really coming hard in that green machine down the inside of Galvin, and he might actually be able to clear him in turns 1 and 2 if he drives in hard enough. I don't know if this will hurt him in the long run, but Hardin is definitely the drive on the move early on.
Well, and it's no surprise, actually. He was looking real good in the truck race that they ran at this exact same track last night. He actually had the 2nd fastest lap and led the most laps. Didn't get the finish he wanted, but definitely knew how to get around this thing. You see, look, big rotation there in the entrance of 1. Tries to get the run coming off of 2. Just not quite able to do it. But Ricky Hardin definitely one of the guys moving up through the field right now.
So leading the field, we have Drake Wright, who started in second place. Krahula fell back from that Savage Spinner pole award to second. Ryan Howard has maintained third. Jason Galvin has actually picked up a spot from fifth to fourth. We've already documented Ricky Hardin's day so far. Pierre Daigle has dropped back from fourth all the way down to sixth. Jody Green in seventh place. He's worked his way up from ninth. DJ Beverly running there in eighth where he started. And Jesse Fowler has just been passed by Tommy Ryan for ninth place.
Yeah, and actually a little bit further back, I want to throw a shout out to Billy Tunge, who actually unfortunately lost it between 3 and 4. He is now P-last on the field. He's already gone a lap down. Did nose it into the tires there on the inside wall coming out of 4. Unfortunately, not the day that Billy wanted. He went steadily backwards there, lost the back end.
Yeah, and he's still in pit road. He's came in to try and get repairs. And we've already documented in this race how much time you are going to lose in the pits. So he may be 2, 3, maybe even 4 laps down by the time this ordeal is over. Meanwhile, the battle for fourth is still continuing with Jason Galvin. He hasn't been sliding as much recently. It looks like he's got his rear tyres under him now. But Ricky Hardin continues to be the driver on the move.
Yeah, you can see that ebb. If you look at the slide right in front there, making things happen. Over-under move possibly from Galvin. He's tries to get back inside. No, he'll slot back in. So Hardin up to fourth. Made that slide job, move right behind him. You got another battle. It's between the 13 and the 4. Oh, we got 15 in the wall. Just went right. I didn't see if he had any help. 15, Hardin still going, but he lost everything he gained there.
Yeah, and we'll get a replay here. I mean, he could have been overdriving the car, but we'll wait and see. I think this replay is going back a bit further than when the incident actually occurred. Let's see if it happens going down into this turn. And, oh no, you're right, he got help. Oh, and the caution is being blown right now, as we speak. Yeah, John Martin, I think, and he's still struggling to get the car back under him. He must have damage from whatever brought out this yellow.
We're going to keep an eye on the 92 on the high side here. Comes down. I don't even think he knew he was there. Just cut left, and the 77 falls victim.
Alright, so let's keep a close eye on what's going on here, because the leaders have had to do basically a whole lap to catch up with the pace car, and as soon as they do that, they dive in the pit road. So, if you were not keeping up with the leader, now you're in trouble, because you... Well, no, if the leader's coming in the pits, it should be good, I would imagine. But if a leader were to stay out late in the race and you weren't caught up behind the pace car, that's when you could run into a bit of trouble.
Well, speaking of staying out, we got the 92 that did not come in. Chad Stallman, he was actually the driver who got and made that contact with the 77, does not come in. He stays out. This could be beneficial for him, as he will inherit. Nope, he's going to dive back in right now. So, as I say that, no advantage for that driver.
James Krahula wins the race off of pit road ahead of Drake Wright, and Paul Pepper has moved up into third place. I'm going to guess that he took 2 tyres, and as you mentioned, the second wave of cars came into the pits that time by everyone that's came down pit road under this yellow.
That could be a big deal there for the 24, with him making those moves early, trying to find his way around right, and this time getting him on pit road. Track position could be a big deal here tonight.
How do you like Paul Pepper's 2-tyre call there?
Well, they got 20 laps on the tires. I think it's a good time to do it. Like I just said, if we got that track position being as big of a deal, it is fixed setup, so it's about the driver to find his way through. With everybody fighting for that top line, that's a good way to do it right here early. Just needs to try and keep under control, and could find himself fighting for a top 3 here by the end.
Let's have a look at the top 10 rundown as they work their way under yellow. It's James Krahula ahead of Drake Wright, and Ricky Hardin is able to stay in third. I'm going to guess he must have done 2 tyres because he had fallen to the back of the field after his incident. Paul Pepper is up there with 2 tyres in 4th, and Brian Howard drops back to 5th after taking 4 tyres. Jody Green, Jason Galvin, Pierre Daigle, Jeff Ryan and Tommy Ryan round out the top 10.
Yeah, and actually just a quick update on that. Harden actually ended up coming in the pit, so now he will be coming from the back. Remember, he's the one who had gotten into the wall there just before that caution had come out, so probably trying to make a little bit of repairs, make sure that 15 car is ready to rock.
Pace car peels off in turn 3, but the restart zone isn't really until they get around to the front stretch, although Krahula is only early in the middle of 3 and 4, and that's going to help him have a whole racetrack to himself by the time he gets into turn 1.
Yeah, we almost had 3 wide for a second out of 4 just behind him. Keeping my eye towards the back of the field, but right now the fight is on for the lead. On the outside is Wright. Look at him right up next to the wall there as they go into turn number 3. Krahula he's just giving it up for him. He's letting him have that high side. So I said earlier, people are going to be fighting for it. Right now, the 24 is letting them have it.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a smart move. Maybe Wright is just more comfortable running closer to the wall. But I'm sure Krahula's got to know that the way to keep that lead is stay up as high as the wall as possible. However, that being said, he proves me wrong there and is able to stay ahead of Blake Wright. Look how close Ryan Howard is running upstairs, as opposed to drivers such as Paul Pepper in 4th place. It looks to be running more in the middle of the circuit.
Yeah, Krahula, he slid right up in front of that 2.7. He likes it just a little bit lower than the 27 does, and now he's starting to move it up just to make sure there's not enough room there. 24 is running his own race. Doesn't matter where anybody else wants to run. He's going to put that green car where he wants it. Advocare 24 looking pretty good right now, but as you say, 27 and the 33 right on him, nose to tail for the top 3.
Meanwhile, Billy Tungate has returned to the circuit. He's 3 laps down in 20th. John Martin is 1 lap down in 19th after being the driver who was backwards under the last yellow. That brought our only caution out. That does mean if we get another caution, though, he will get the Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog. But right now, it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime too, Smithy, because they're all single file again.
Yeah, I mean, the last one was just a bit of a mistake. Someone wasn't able to hold on to it in the middle, but if we can keep it fairly smooth from here, we're going to have a green flag run. I'd like to get the camera, if we can, on the number 15, Ricky Harden. Remember, he was the one making moves and had a little bit of help to turn him into the outside wall in turn number 4. He had to restart this race just a second from last of the guys on the lead lap. He's now already up to 13th. Got clear of these guys. He's making tracks again. So Ricky Harden's having to do it the hard way. That 15 looks to be in good shape even after that contact with the wall.
And you can see he actually has a bit of a gap in front of him right now. And meanwhile, I'm looking at the driver he just overtook is Tommy Ryan, all the way back down 14th place. Well, we know Tommy is a... Oh, Tommy almost loses it coming out of turn 4. But we know Tommy is a championship winning driver. So, the fact that Tommy's all the way back in 14th place just shows you how competitive his field is. Meanwhile, Ricky Harden has just flown by Jeff Ryan.
Yeah, Jeff had a little bit of an issue there and lost momentum as he came on the front straight wheel last time. Going back to Tommy, who's now making the move on Jeff Ryan. Yeah, Tommy is one of those front runners. He actually won the Las Vegas race on strategy and is always going to be in the thick of things. But one thing to point out, Tommy did not run the truck race last night. So I wonder if perhaps that lack of time here at Irwindale, bit of an interesting track to be running with these cars, maybe has bit him a little bit here, having to start a little bit further back.
It does seem it's really hard to run around that outside wall here, Smithy, which is what you have to do. But the problem is there's a lot of places where the wall kind of pops out. You can't just run as close to it as you want and rim ride the whole way around. Every now and then you have to come in a little bit. And you've got to know pretty much every square inch of this circuit. Meanwhile, Mark Allen has just lost a couple positions. He was in the top 10. He has now dropped back to 11th, and he's actually about to lose that to Ricky Hardin. Not entirely sure what's wrong with Allen's car, because he doesn't have any damage on it, but he is dropping back through the field right now.
Yeah, I didn't see anything happen to him there. I mean, he might have been one of the drivers involved in that little bit of an issue with Ryan. I know they were close to each other at the time, but starting to head backwards for the 19 ride. Up there at the front, the 2-7, I didn't see if he spun the tires or what, but back to third is Jake Wright. Coming out of turn 2 a couple laps ago. Turned down left, and the 33 went right on by. I have seen the back end step out a little bit. Wonder if maybe just overheated those right rears. Right now it's Ryan Howard chasing down our pulse hitter and point leader, James Krahula in the 24. The guy right now almost looks the strongest. Could be that 33 of Howard.
Yeah, we really haven't mentioned Ryan Howard a whole lot. I think this is his first race of the season. Yeah, I'm not seeing his name on the points table, and he's definitely impressing so far, running in second position right now. But meanwhile, talking about Jake Wright, I thought he'd lost a position, but that looks like Billy Tungate is going a lap down to him there. Billy's been having all kinds of trouble ever since his incident earlier on. But yeah, Jake Wright has dropped back in third place there, so Ryan Howard, they're doing a nice job running in second. His first race this season, he started third on the grid, and he has got about 84 laps left to go to make up just one more position.
Yeah, and he's been closing in a little bit by a little bit every single lap. He is looking real good, real comfortable on the high side. He's looking a lot better than Krahula there in 3 and 4. Look at him close back up here. Doesn't quite have the exit speed that Krahula does coming off of 2. Both those drivers taking different lines. He's right on board with Howard right now. Look at him right up next to the high side, even further up than Krahula does. When you watch him square up turn 4, trying to get it straight, try to get the throttle down. Going in deep into turn number 1 here. Diamonds the corner, goes up by the wall.
I'm sorry, big moment for Dale Mears on the front straight. I can't believe he held onto it and didn't hit the wall. But that was another position from Ricky Harding, because he was the next on the checklist for Harding there. But yeah, Mears had a big slide coming out of turn 4. I felt for sure he would win the caution out. Go ahead, Smithy.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're starting to get a few more laps on the tires here. I mean, we did 20 or so in the first stint. Now we're starting to put a few more on. I'll take a look and see where we're at here as far as the laps go. Yeah, we're almost 25 laps now on these tires, so it's starting to get to that point. We're getting a little bit more heat in these things, and we could start seeing a little bit more mistakes.
Yeah, no, you just saw a replay of what happened to me as a mistake, just getting on the throttle a bit too rough, and that ended up costing him several positions there. And like I said, we're probably going to see more of that as the race goes on and the tyres get worn during this run, and also all of the drivers will be racing more aggressively, knowing the laps are ticking away, because we aren't too far away from hitting the halfway point.
Yeah, and Sam, I don't see Ryan Howard on the speedway anymore. I think maybe a disconnection. I don't see it, but he's not there. Our second place driver seems to be missing.
And we have got confirmation. He has lost his internet connection.
Oh, man. Wow, he was looking like one of the guys to beat, and then just like that, tables have turned. Ryan Howard now disconnected, not in the game. Well, that's James Krahula now almost out to 2 seconds lead on Jake Wright. Remember, those two drivers, 1 and 2, they were actually tied in qualifying, and right now advantage goes to Krahula.
Yeah, and let's give a shout out to Paul Pepper with Ryan Howard losing his connection. That puts, Jeff Ryan is off course. Oh, and he's pointing all different kinds of directions. But he was down on the grass. iRacing doesn't bring out a caution for that.
Yeah, it's one of the tough things. It is a short track, but because you get down low like that, it's pretty easy for them to say no caution on that.
Yeah, and here hopefully we'll get a replay of what happened to Ryan. Was it 92? No, he lost it on his own. Maybe he got pinched down a bit by the 92, but you've got to know when you drive into the turn with the car in front of you that you've got to compensate.
Yeah, it looked like he went in there pretty deep to try to make something happen and actually checked up pretty hard to make sure he did not run any other driver. Talking about big movers right now, remember we talked about a little bit earlier, I want to put it back on Ricky Harden up to 8th now. Ricky Harden at 15 up to 8th. Remember, he had gotten up to 3rd just before getting a little bit of love there in turn number 4. Spun him around into the wall. Still making moves up. And when everybody else is making him up one at a time or so, just barely making a little bit of progress, to 15, now up into the top 8. That's huge for him.
And he has Pierre Daigle in front of him. Ryan Howard is yet to return to the sim, which makes me think he might be out of a race. And I mean, the problem is, Smithy, when you lose a connection at a track is short, even if you do instantly lose a connection, drop out of the sim and then come back in, you're going to be about 4 or 5 laps down by the time it will let you go back out on the track.
Yeah, exactly. A short track like this is not Nordschleife that we're running on this thing right now. It's pretty much game over if you lose it, especially with no real way to get back in the game. But as we watch Harden on the outside now, he's passing him on the inside, he's passing him on the outside, but now getting passed by Tommy Ryan. Remember Ryan in that number 6, our winner from the last round. He's starting to make stuff happen. Remember we talked about him not running the truck race last night, and maybe that kind of put him at a disadvantage, but he's looking real good, putting the fight now to the 14 as well.
One driver who's not looking good, you'll see him on the apron here as the leaders come around, is Jesse Fowler. Was actually pointing the wrong way on the bottom of the track on the front stretch, has just gotten his car turned back around the right way, but he is now a lap down. There was no caution flown, and here he comes out of turn 4, loses it, he's down on the apron, so iRacing says no caution.
Man, that's a tough thing. It's something like that, you'd probably see that on TV. Normally you see a caution or something like that, but too bad for him. Good for everybody else who's still running, and our leaders are starting to catch up a little bit closer to possible traffic here in another couple of laps.
Yeah, James Kahula continues to lead over Drake Wright by 1.2 seconds. Actually, let's go ahead and give you the advocate through the field right now as we approach the halfway point of this race. James Kahula 1.3 seconds now over Drake Wright. Jason Galvin has been having a nice solid race up in the top 5 so far. He was sliding the rear of his car earlier on, but he is currently running in 3rd position behind James Kahula and Drake Wright. There you see the top 2 on screen, followed by Jason Galvin. There he is, he's got his car under him now there in 3rd place. Jody Green running in 4th position. And so if you want your son to be a good racing driver, just give him a name with the first letter J, because right now it's James, Drake, Jason and Jody leading the field. Paul Pepper making those 2 tyres work for him early on. He currently rides there in 5th place, despite only qualifying 16th of the 20 cars. DJ Beverly, haven't mentioned him a lot tonight. He's running solid there in 6th place, ahead of Pierre Daigle. Pierre Daigle running in 7th is first. Tommy Ryan just took it from him. I was about to say Pierre was last of the drivers that hadn't been passed by Ricky Hardin or Tommy Ryan. Well, that just changed. Tommy Ryan up to 7th, Pierre Daigle back to 8th. Ricky Hardin has made it up to 9th, and then rounding out the top 10 is Randy Yoakum, who actually started at the back of the field after failing to set a time during qualifying. That is your advocate through the field as we approach, and I think we are hitting the halfway point right now.
Indeed we are, and actually as we did that through the field, you could see the right front fenders on a lot of these cars just a little crinkled up, a little bit of a ding or a dent coming up on those things. Doesn't seem to hurt them too bad, but it actually is it's not exactly all smooth sailing for some of these guys. As you can see on course right now, our leaders are starting to catch the back of the field. We've got several laps on these tires now. Our leader on the back of the 92 should be able to get through pretty easily. Hopefully these guys don't make it too hard on him, but you do want to stay on the lead lap if you can.
Getting word that Ryan Howard has returned back to the race, but he's 20 laps down now, and unfortunately for Ryan, at the rate this race is going, he's probably going to have to settle for 20th place finish, because there haven't been any retirements, no driver sitting any further back by 4 laps. And nothing seems to be changing in a hurry up front. I'll tell you what though, James, and you may have mentioned this, but the top 2 have really broke away from the rest of the field. Jason Galvin in 3rd position is sitting over 5 seconds back of the leader.
Yeah, indeed, and actually with this traffic, you talk about them pulling away. Remember, we had Howard kind of in the middle there right with James, but James has not been able to get around these guys very quickly. As I said, they are trying to hold on to that lead lap. I said maybe don't make it as hard on them, but if you can stay on the lead lap and a caution comes out, you're kind of in the catbird seat. Right now, Kahula has just gotten around the 92 there of Chad Stallman. just got around the double O of Don Runkle. It's him trying to make it through as smoothly and quickly as possible without making mistakes. But he's lost about a second to Jake Wright, who's now coming up on those group himself in the 27.
Yeah, Jake Wright is only 7/10 back of Kahula right now. The problem is now he has those 2 lap cars in front of him. And the problem with 2 battling lap cars, these 2 are battling for 13th place. It's Don Runkle Jr. ahead of Chad Stallman, is that they're not really willing to yield that much time because they're in a race of their own.
No, exactly. And actually, if the 92 can get back to the bumper of the 08, that's for that lucky dog position as well. So there's all to play for with these guys. They're not going to let it slide too easily, because Wright has made his way around Stallman now. So the gap back up to about 1.5 seconds, advantage Kahula. They're going to catch up to traffic once again. It'll be interesting to see how it ebbs and flows as we go.
Battle for 6th. Paul Pepper, I think, has been in trouble. I think he's been in the walls a little bit because he was in 5th not too long ago. He just lost 6th place to Tommy Ryan, and DJ Beverly has actually broken into the top 5. And there is a bit of right side damage on Paul Pepper's car, but honestly I think there's a few cars out here with dins and dents on them from just grazing the wall as the race has gone on.
Yeah, there is. As you can see right there on his right front, it's got a bit of a ding in that thing. It's not going to hurt him on the arrow, but how about that number 6, Tommy Ryan? He's moving on up.
Sorry, big trouble for Ricky Hardin. Lost it out of turn 2, and so he was pointing down pit road. I think he's just going to go ahead and serve his pit stop. Why not? He can make it to the end from here, and all of the drivers have to serve a stop. So why not make the most out of this? Hopefully he wasn't speeding when he came on pit road.
Yeah, looks like he's already starting to rotate here. As you see on the replay, yep. It's a little bit too much rotation, perhaps. Maybe it was all to be on purpose. He locks it up hard trying to get into the pits under the right speed. The best thing that could happen for him is we stay green and everybody else decides to make their stop.
Yeah, Jeff Ryan also came into the pits too. I wonder... Of course, what would be really amusing is if Ricky came down because of his mistake and Jeff Ryan said, "Oh boy, I guess Ricky's pitting, I should pit too."
Well, hopefully it's thought out a little bit more, but there's only 50 laps to go, and at less than 20 seconds a lap, those things are going to click off pretty quick. We are actually starting to see a few more drivers come down, so this may all be part of the plan for these drivers.
Yeah, Jesse Fowler down pit road. He, recall, he spun on the front stretch earlier and actually got into the wall a little bit. And of course, there's an incentive for drivers who have damage to pit earlier so that they can get a bit of their damage repaired while they're in the pits.
Yeah, and if they are getting a little bit of fuel, and depending on if they get a couple tires or not, you're going to play that very carefully. Just because you're going to lose a lot of time under pit road. I'll take a look and see if any of these guys did elect to get tires or not.
Now what this does mean is it's taken a few cars off of a lead lap, but it might not anymore because Kahula actually overshot the turn he was just running through and pancaked the wall a little bit. It didn't do too much damage to the machine, but the thing is, in this day and age with aerodynamics and the tow of vehicles being as precise as they are, even the slight touch into the wall like that can throw your handling off. But look at what tyres are doing behind them. Look at Jeff Ryan just raced by Jake Wright. Ryan is multiple laps down, and he just passed Jake Wright on the inside, and he's going to pull away from him.
Yeah, absolutely, and I did confirm as well. Hardin also got tires, so it'd be curious to see how long that our leaders are going to stay out here, knowing how important those tires are. The advantage is Kahula's. He's got the race to kind of go his way, but if he stays out too long, this could end up turning around and biting him. A caution is what these guys do not want to see who've already made their stops.
Paul Pepper is into the pits. Recall that he had been running in the top 10, and I think... Oh, Jeff Ryan in trouble. Not the first time we've said that today, and I think he may have been in the grass in turns 3 and 4 because he's getting back up to speed down the front straight.
That's too bad for him. He had just made that stop and gotten those tires. So a little bit of a chance he had to maybe make up some time seems to have gone by the wayside. Yep, just sees it rotate. Does not have a handle on that thing. You can see a little bit of damage on it already. That's the second time the 88's been around there in 3 and 4.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ryan Howard has returned to the sim, but he hasn't returned to the track, so he's going to accept a loss, I think, here today. Meanwhile, I've been watching Ricky Harding, because as you mentioned, he's on new tyres, and he's trying to pass cars as much as possible. And I'm worried here, Smithy, that Jeff Ryan might not be the only one we'll spin on the new tyres, because all these drivers who have just changed onto the new tyres and are trying to put on some really quick lap times to gain track position in the long run, that they might overshoot a couple of turns themselves and get in the wall.
And there it is. Caution is out.
Jeff Ryan, I think, again. Out of turn 4.
That is unfortunate for Harden. He had not quite made it up to the lucky dog position. It is very good for Don Runkle, however.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Ryan did bring out this caution. We'll wait and see. Oh,
yep, there it
that
is.
gives an indication.
Bad to worse for the 88.
Alright, let's see what happens in this race to catch a pace car. The leaders have called them, and they're all going to get bunched together, and they should come in the pits together. And that means, whoa, there's a couple of close calls back there. That means hopefully we won't see any drivers lose a lap while they're coming into the pits. Boy, look at that pass going on pit road there. Jake Wright kept to the outside wall as they came through 3 and 4, and actually allowed Jason Galvin to pass him on pit road.
That might not mean too much because he should be able to have clear entry. There it is. Being P2 in qualifying, he was going to be the end of pit road. Just made it a little bit longer to get there, but not under too much of a threat to not be able to get to a stall. I want to make sure we shout out to Don Runkle Jr. He did get that coastal safety auditor's lucky dog. He moved around. He is still on the lead lap, so good on him for fighting hard to make sure he was the guy first one lap down.
Yeah, and Jake Wright does indeed lose a spot to Jason Galvin in the pits. And it looks like everyone who came down pit road took 4 tyres, and why not? It's been about 70 laps since last time they were in, and the rate this race has been going right now, there's a good chance they could be racing to the end.
Speaking of racing to the end, let's take a look at where our leader is right now. I believe our leader is going to be that 2-4 as Runkle's going to come in. Yep, Runkle's going to make that happen. So the 2-4 should be your leader. And in front of him, those drivers should be getting the wave around. And who's at the lead front of that? That is 15. Harden will be back on the lead lap once they get this wave around. He'll have to do a lot of work to do, but at least he's not trapped 1 lap down.
Yeah, the driver you see there in front of Harden is Billy Tungate. He will also get the wave around, but unfortunately for him, he's 7 laps down. We have... Boy, if these cars get the wave around here, Chad Stallman is in 15th position, and Stallman is not in front of the leader, but Paul Pepper is. And Paul Pepper was one of those drivers who have been doing well during the race, but came into the pits during that long green flag run, so he got trapped a lap down. But being trapped 1 lap down is a whole lot better than being trapped 2 laps down, because then it means you can get the wave around and get back in the race. We will have 14 cars left on the lead lap when the green flag comes back out.
Yeah, and also getting that wave around was that 77 as well. Remember, James Martin, he had a bit of an issue there, Martin did. And he should be back in, John Martin in the 77. So these guys getting the wave around. They're going to follow back in line at the back of the field. They're going to be fighting for a top 10 instead of a top 15.
Yeah, the league organizer, or one of the league organizers who's actually racing out there on the track today, James Trahula, gave him an extra lap of caution there. Not entirely sure what for, but Irwindale is a small track, and so the order can get a bit jumbled up under caution. So, for whatever reason, the pace car lights are now off, and I think everyone is going to be in order, and James Kahula will be leading them back to the green with Jason Galvin on his outside there. Galvin has really came alive in the second half of this race.
Yeah, for sure. And just a quick note on that is to make sure those lap cars did get back to the pack. We're off to turn number 4. We're getting a green flag. These guys have got fresh tires. Let's go racing 34 more laps.
Kahula takes the lead, but look, Galvin looking down the inside, right, looking down the inside of him. They take 3 different lanes. I wouldn't say they quite went 3 wide, but Jake Wright is coming into the pits. And so I guess he must have had a speeding penalty of some sort.
And oh, we got contact.
Oh,
Our leader
who
around. The 24. Contact from the 42 sends him around. Yellow flag is out.
Well, this just got interesting. We're going to have to get a replay of that.
42.
That was the restart we were watching just there. And coming out of turn 4, this is where the contact was made. Galvin got into him.
Looked like the 42 did get into the left rear of the 24 there. Remember, the 42 had a little bit of altercation with Harden earlier. Not saying it's intentional, but real close racing. Contact twice now with 42 and a driver he's trying to roll with. Look at 42 now. He's going to take a look, making things happen on the low side. Tries to get a little bit of a run. This is not much. This is just a little bit of a tap, a little bit of him coming up, a little bit of the 2-4 coming down, and that was that.
Now, who really benefits from this are the cars who just took a wave around. Ricky Hardin, Paul Pepper, and John Martin. And something's going on here, because all the leaders, I guess, realise they actually need to pass the pace car. They pulled up behind the pace car before they were supposed to. Such as the craziness of iRacing when it comes to short tracks sometimes. But that won't ultimately change anyone's position or win it, because a couple of cars are in the pit road missing out on all of this.
Indeed, and one of those is actually the aforementioned Harden, who took about 3 to 17 tries at getting stopped in his stall. So Harden just did not really get the job done too well under the pit road. Timing is everything, and the timing was wrong there.
Yeah, this is actually quite interesting, James. I think they've been put a lap down. All the cars who were in the pits right there, they took a wave around under the last caution, and so this caution would have given them the opportunity to pit, get new tyres, and still be back on the lead lap. Whereas now they roll on the pits when the leaders just worked out that they could go around the pace car one more time. So I think we've got a few cars here trapped a lap down who actually should be on the lead lap. It will be interesting to see what the league admins do about this.
Well, yeah, I think it's about when you decide to come down. I mean, the pit row was open, and so they took it, but it wasn't really time to make that happen. It looked like this is definitely an interesting turn of events.
Yeah, right now we had Chad Stallman, James Krahula, and Jake Wright just take a wave around them. Boy, this is interesting now, isn't it? James Krahula and Jake Wright are going to be restarting from the back of the field when they have been the two that have been dominating the whole thing. And the pace car lights are off.
Well, now you got different drivers at the front. You're going to have Galvin lead him with Green, Tommy Ryan, and DJ Beverly. Just like that, Ryan back in the thick of things. But he's going to have a lot of work to do, and we got a few different drivers. As the 42 takes off, 42 going to lead him down into turn number 1 with Green, Ryan, and Beverly right with him.
Yeah, Jody Green.
Crashing in turn 1.
Big one.
Very,
Jesse
very big
Fowler
crash.
gets spun around, and as a few cars get caught up behind it, fortunately with this being short track, it doesn't seem to have done too much damage to a lot of them. Jesse Fowler definitely got the worst of it though.
Yeah, you know what? I think it all actually stemmed from, looked like it was the 19 getting turned around. Give me that blue car. You see that tap from behind? Tries to save, is going to come back up the track, and it's going to be nowhere to go for everybody else. Multiple drivers involved.
Yeah, and the 19 car there was Mark Allen, and now this will allow John Martin to get the wave around. So the Lucky Dog, the Coastal Safety Auditor's Lucky Dog. We probably won't see a lot of wave arounds because I think the leaders are pretty much, and there you see the little doggy on screen, because I think the leaders what incentive do they have to come down pit road with 25 laps left to go, Nissan?
Yeah, absolutely none. You gotta stay out and try to hold on to this thing. It's really too bad. We had some long green flag racing there, a couple of pretty good little runs, and then here late, it's just gone a bit of madness.
Yeah, I'm being told Brutus is the name of that dog. Yeah, let's bring him up on the screen again. I know we've already done our sponsor obligation, but let's just give Brutus his shout out. The driver who got the lucky dog was
John Martin.
John Martin. Yes, there's a lucky dog for John Martin. Brutus. Yeah, the Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog. Alright, what do you think we're going to see in the final 20 laps of this in here, Smithy? Jason Galvin leads the field for the first time today, and I know there'll be a couple of drivers, maybe Chris Kahula, who might be a little bit upset with how he got it.
Yeah, indeed, but Krahula's got to focus on making ground, try to get as close to the front as he can. And right now, my eye's kind of on that number 6 of Tommy Ryan. We saw him come up through the field a little bit earlier, and now he's starting third. And if this thing goes green the rest of the way, these last 18, 19 laps or so, I think number 6 is going to be the guy to watch.
Just a reminder for those who have joined us during the race, this is round 4 of a 2016 Premier Racing League Coastal Safety Auditors Grand National Series, and this is the race for Laura Lymphoma Awareness 125. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, and if you're not, you can search GSRC Global Sim Racing channel on YouTube and find it. There is a link that will take you to a website where you can help out Laura, who is battling cancer. We wish her the best. Don't know if she's watching this broadcast tonight, but if she is, we hope she's enjoying the show. And with 18 laps left to go, it is about to get very interesting, with Jason Galvin leading Jody Green back to the restart here with 18 circuits left to go, and Galvin is on the loud pedal early. He has a several car length lead over Jody Green before, and there's a spinner.
That looked like that was the number 8, I think, of Randy Yoakum. He just spun the tires as they try to take off, and we're not going to quite get as many laps into green.
And the Ford Mustang pace car just kept on driving. Boy, how much of that do you think was by Galvin shooting out early?
It's time to go, it's time to go, and unfortunately, look at the 8, he's just going to try, he's still going to have a little bit of steering wheel in it, punch it chewy, and around she goes. Nice job of getting going again, though.
Well, we don't expect a whole lot to change under this caution. Paul Pepper will get the Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog this time, which will put 14 cars back on the lead lap. Does this mean we get to see Brutus again? Yay, Brutus! Yay, lucky dog, there he is. So, we're going to be under caution for a couple laps here. We don't expect any of the leaders to come into pit road. There you see Pepper getting the lap back. He'll be the only one to get a lap back. Shouldn't see any wave arounds with the leaders staying out. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back for the restart here. Closing stages of this race here at Irwindale Speedway. Hello and welcome back. Green flag has just flown. A bit of technical difficulties there getting us back. Jason Galvin leads the field away, and Jody Green, they're single file in first and second. Tommy Ryan up into third, and caution is back out immediately again.
Yeah, that was further back in the field. They got turned around and collected. I didn't see exactly who it was. We can kick back there and find out who it was. But, man, cautions breed cautions. These restarts not going well for these drivers. Seems like a lot of rear wheel spin and checking up causing the issue.
And the problem these drivers are going to run into now, Smithy, is we're going to run out of laps. I think another caution would end it because iRacing doesn't do green-white checkers.
But yeah, problem that these drivers are going to have if you're not the number 42.
Well, that is the 6th caution of the race. Happened a bit further back in the field there. I don't think it's going to put anyone a lap down. And it looks like Ricky Hardin will probably be one of the last drivers of the race to get the Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog. That will put him back on the lead lap. Randy Yoakum had lost a lap after bringing out the previous caution. We're not entirely sure when he went a lap down. I'm going to guess he came into the pits for repairs and probably came out a couple of nose lamps behind the pace car. These cautions have been a little bizarre here tonight, Smithy. It seems even the drivers are getting confused at times just because of how long the pit road is and how small the track is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a place that's made to be having a regular amount of stops like this, and it's starting to burn a couple of guys. They looked back and saw what happened on that last restart. Once again, it was wheel spin. It happened from several drivers. First, the 00 got sideways and got into the wall a little bit on his own, but it was the 03 that got a little bit sideways. Billy Tongate actually went up and collected the 77, unfortunately. So, yeah, these guys are having a hard time on the right foot. They got to be a little bit smoother, or else we're not going to be able to find any more green flag laps.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to try and get a replay up here for you. Might take us a couple of tries, but that's okay. You're not missing any action. The pace car's still pacing the field around. Now, camera guys sending us different files. It looks like we're close to the wreck here, because you see Tungate off the pace by the time that happened. There you go. Oh boy, yeah, it's all happening in the back of the field there. Get a better idea of how this built up here, Smithy.
Yeah, you can see up front there's going to be somebody that spins the tires and is going to go into the wall on their own. A little bit further back is the 03 as they come through here. 03 sideways and then whips back across. 77. Well, just gets collected. That's unfortunate. It's just the wheel spin. These guys got to be a little bit smoother on the right foot.
Pace car lights are off. We're on lap 121 of 125. A caution flag when they restart again, if that happens. Hopefully it would end it. The reason it's been happening recently is because the power of these cars combined with the sluggishness of this track, and there's just no time to wait anymore with it this close to the end. Jason Galvin leads the way, but pressure's on the exit. Jody Green gets sideways coming out of turn 4. That'll cost him second position to Tommy Ryan. So now, Jason Galvin has to only hold off Tommy Ryan, and there's a spinner back in the field, tries to save it. Paul Pepper doesn't.
That's got to be the 42 right there. 42, then the 6 and the 13. We saw the 13 spin the tires as well on the start there.
And a shame that a race that had been clean and green for pretty much 2/3 of it finishes in a string of cautions, but I think it was just inevitable there at the end, Smithy. It's these drivers just... This car is so powerful for this racetrack, and when the drivers get anxious in the closing stages, this is the result, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's really too bad. Yeah, there's the restarts with the wheel spin, and it's going a little bit deep right there. You start spending a lot of laps at just 35 miles an hour this thing, and start going a loud pedal, and well, it's not quite the same as going on pace lap. It's really too bad. Yeah, like you said, we had a great start to the race. Too bad it didn't finish under green.
Yeah, that was our 7th caution of the thing. 7 cautions and 125 laps doesn't sound too bad until you consider about over half of those, I think, happened in the last 20 or 30 laps. But we are on the last lap now, and Jason Galvin is leading the field around. It might be interesting talking to him in our post-race interviews, considering he was involved in contact with the lead there for James Kahula. We're sure they probably discussed it over radio. It'll be interesting to hear their interpretations of the incident. But they're about to come out of turn 4, and Jason Galvin, his first race in this series this season, and he is going to take a W in that number 42 Pennzoil machine.
Yes, he is, and that did a nice job of making the restarts happen in his favor. So regardless of how he got there, he earned the top spot there at the end by being smart, not spinning out like some of the other guys. Brings home the top spot. Well done, 4-2.
Absolutely, and No Chance Racing, well, they gave him a good chance today in that number 42 machine. He is doing his little cool-down lap here in front of the fans on the Irwindale Speedway, a very small track. He's already back to the front straight. Let's see if he's going to burn it down here. Who's the number 14 machine there? Pierre Daigle coming to celebrate too, and the 00 machine, who he almost slides up into. And Jason Galvin celebrating, and why not? As you mentioned, Smithy, he was the driver who got the W, able to keep his wheels pointing in the right direction all race long, when some drivers were having a couple of issues with wheel spin in the closing stages there. We're going to take a quick break and get these drivers mic'd up, and we will be back with a full race rundown and drive interviews. Don't go away. Hello and welcome back to Irwindale Speedway, where we just witnessed 125 laps of racing action here. Very clean and green at the start, not so much at the end, but at the end of the day it was Jason Galvin who took home the win ahead of Tommy Ryan, who rallied to a second place finish after spending a lot of the race really outside the top 10. Jody Green was in third and DJ Beverly, solid performance in fourth place there. James Kahula came back to finish 5th after getting spun from the lead in the closing stages. Pierre Daigle in 6th place and Jake Wright in 7th after being up front early on 2. Dale Mears was back in 8th position and Don Runkle Jr. and Chad Stallman rounded up the top 10 there, Smithy.
In 11th, after having a bit of a better shot at it early on, is John Martin, followed by Ricky Harden, who we did see moving up through the field, and unfortunately the night did not go his way in 12th. Randy Yoakum in 13th, Paul Pepper there involved right there at the end, 14th. Mark Allen in 15th, Mark Norbert in 16th. We're starting to get into the guys who didn't finish on the lead lap. Jeff Ryan is next in 17th, Billy Tungate in 18th, Jesse Fowler in 19th, and Ryan Howard right at the front had a disconnection. We thought he was going to be more of it, unfortunately. 20th is what he gets tonight.
Yes, and just getting ready for driver interviews here. Let's start with our third place finisher was Jody Green. And we'll try and get Jody in here for an interview. Here he is, Mr. Jody Green. He started in 9th position and brought the lucky number 13 home to a third place finish. How was your race out there tonight, Jody?
Man, it was nothing but white knuckle grip racing, just slickest track I've ever been on in a long time.
Yeah, we did see the track temperatures were quite high, but during the first half of the race, most drivers were able to keep their cars under them. During the second half, a lot of cautions came out. Was the first half a miracle then?
I think so. Just everybody broke loose from everybody and just started riding, and that last string of cautions just really just, you know, how it is. Cautions breed cautions, and that's just how it was going to end out. And couldn't get enough heat in my tires to try to make any kind of advance at Galvin, but yeah, it shaked out pretty decent though.
Well, you've already had a win this season, which should lock you into the chase at the end of the year. Each race you're out here for a W. You weren't able to pull it off tonight. Did you think you would be able to?
No, I'll be honest, I actually finished a lot better than I thought I was going to. All the practice and warm-up, it was just kind of borderline out of control. Basically, I was going in with the mentality of just surviving and didn't expect, you know, a bunch of good cars got took out. Krahula and Ricky and them, they was up front. And, you know, I know for sure I'd have been back a few positions if they were still up there battling.
What was the easiest way to pass out there tonight? Because it seemed the progressive banking definitely favoured the high line. Was downstairs trying to dive bomb it really your best option?
No, you couldn't hardly do anything downstairs. As soon as you tried to gas it up downstairs, it wanted to kind of slide out. The tail of the car just wanted to come out from under you. Basically, you just had to try to go wherever the other car wasn't and methodically get around them. If you was on the bottom, you had to just really tiptoe around them. But like you say, the best way was around the top. I mean, that's the only place they was grip at.
Well, this series now heads to Auto Club Speedway for the California 150. Like we said, you've already got the win, so you're just so you're locked into the chase. So you're just looking for more W's right now. Is Auto Club Speedway a place where you think you can pick off number 2?
I hope so. I'm more of a short track racer. The cookie cutter tracks seem to be kind of my nemesis sometimes, but I got a pretty good feeling about it. I hope the feeling's good, but you know, with the cookie cutters on me, it's a hit and miss deal. Like I say, I'm more better at the short track than the mile and a halves.
Alright, well, we look to see if maybe you'll be able to surprise yourself and us next week and get another W. Congratulations on your third place finish tonight, Jody, and thanks for coming here and helping put on a good show.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and thanks to my teammates too, Unacceptable Racing, and my sponsor, Gripco Property Management. Let's put on a good show tonight.
And that was our third place finisher, Jody Green, who started in 9th place. The driver who started on his outside at the start of a race in 10th position came home in 2nd. That's Tommy Ryan. And Smithy, you have called up with Tommy.
Indeed, I have. And Tommy, you got 2nd place tonight. You're able to pick it off right there at the last restart with Jody spinning the tires. Did you think you have a shot at Galvin there at the end if it went green?
Well, I knew if it, had to go green first, obviously, but yeah, Jody spun his tires pretty bad and got way out of shape, and I was able to get the power down, and I was going to be there. I probably needed at least a lap or two to get to his bumper, and then I was going to show him the same courtesy he showed some of my teammates earlier tonight. But yeah, I had a shot, man, if we could get going, but it obviously didn't pan out there.
It wasn't exactly smooth sailing for you. You didn't get a chance to start out front and just hang out there for the entire race. Tell us a little bit about coming through the field and how you're able to do it, both on the low side and the high side, and what were some of the tricks of the trade tonight?
The biggest trick is keeping the right rear on it. If you could get the power down out of the corner, man, you could power it up pretty much on the bottom or the top, wherever you need it. And I was able to do that a lot. I just tried to take care of the tire for at least about 3 or 4 laps and just let them properly get heated up, and then just start running real consistent laps. And just, it's really hard to pass, and you just had to really pick your battles. And when the guy in front of you made a little bit of a mistake, you just pounce on it, man, and get around him at that point. And just, you had to be pretty aggressive at times, but not too aggressive where you get your tire too hot trying to get around a guy, and then you finally get around him and dive into the next corner, and that thing just either shoves to the wall or you can't get out of the corner, lighten up the right rear.
I noticed that you didn't run the truck race last night like a lot of these guys did. Do you think that actually put you a little bit on the back foot to start this race? Is that why maybe you're a little bit further back on the starting grid?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I came in here pretty green, turned as many laps as I could during practice and warm up and whatnot, and kind of got a feel of what I needed to do. I just needed to follow my teammate Ricky Harden there for that long run and just kind of watch what he was doing. And I typically can learn a lot from just following some guys and just kind of learn my line. And luckily it fell right in place on my driving style, and I just rolled up through there. Man, it was a lot of fun until the cautions came out.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it. Last question for you. Having already had a win with that nice run last week, how do you approach the rest of the season already being locked in the chase? So is it all test bed, or are you starting to try to get as far up the charts as you can?
Yeah, just really, man. I mean, just try to get as many wins as I can, and obviously talk to you guys. It's always fun up here, and try to get some plugs for the Unacceptable Facebook page and Northern Tool, and of course Coastal Safety Auditors. It's just I'm just going to try to have as much fun as I can. There's a lot of good drivers in here. Some of them need to calm down a little bit and then understand a little bit of respect. But overall, man, it's really fun.
Well, nice job tonight. 2nd place, just shy of the W, but I got a feeling we will be seeing more of you this season. Well done.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I plan on putting the Northern Tool Camaro in victory lane at least 10 more times. We'll see. I appreciate it, guys.
Awesome. Well done. Samuel, I think you got our winner coming up next here, Jason Galvin.
Yes, we have called up in victory lane with Jason Galvin. First of all, Jason, congratulations on your win tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Samuel. I don't know quite how I feel about it. I don't feel like I necessarily won that race. We had some incidents out there that I'm not crazy about. I think that thing with James and I went back and watched it a few times, and I certainly don't think that I wrecked him. It looked to me like he was off the wall a little, and honestly, it looked to me like there was a little net code there, but on that same standpoint, I could have pulled up in behind him. So my car rolled the center so well. The same thing happened with his teammate Ricky earlier in the race. My car just rolled the center, I think, better than anybody else. Did it in practice too, and I didn't mean to get into James for sure. I really didn't mean to get into Ricky that early in the race. The Ricky thing, I could have backed off. The James thing, I'm going to chalk up to racing, frankly. But I'll take credit for it, if that's what we want to call it. And I feel really bad about that. I'm happy with the win, don't get me wrong. And a big thank you to everybody. My night started out awful. I picked the wrong car when we got into the race session. So I was in a different car. It threw me off. Everything was all over the place. My teammates, Jake and Pierre, kind of kept me calm. And I guess I survived at the end. I don't know what happened once the restarts got going. Everybody just kept wrecking behind us there. I would have liked to race it out. But big thank you to everybody, KGET, Nexstar, NBC, Coastal Safety Auditions for sponsoring this series here, to James and to all the guys at Premier and the Unacceptable Racing guys. I didn't mean to pick fights tonight, start anything. That's not normally me. And I think that they know that. I've never raced anybody like that in my life. And the fact that it happened to two teammates in one night probably didn't make many friends. And judging by the interviews, I know it didn't. Tommy can pay me back whenever he wants. I look forward to it. I probably got one coming, but it is what it is, and we move on.
Well, you pretty much just answered every single question I had lined up for you there, Jason. The one thing I will say is, are we correct in seeing that this is your first race with the series?
It is the first race in the Xfinity car, yeah. I would run some trucks, run a cup race. Been pretty quick in both. I thought I had something in the truck race last night, and I didn't qualify because I missed qualifying. I stayed out because we were getting great tire wear, and we had just this huge pile up on a restart that took everybody out, it seemed like, including me. And still drove back through and got a top 10 with a truck that had 6 minutes of optional repair. So that was fun. I knew I'd be quick here. I was the announcer at this track for 6 years. It's my home track. It's where I got my start in racing. I won a race here. It's the only race I've ever won professionally. I shouldn't say professionally. I've only run in 3 actual auto races in my life. 2 of them have been here. I got a 4th and a win. So I know how to get around the place in real life. I got a million laps here on iRacing. I just wish that me winning tonight would have played out differently. I'm not excited about it. I'm happy to get the win, and I feel like I could have won either way. I certainly had a top 3 car, but not real proud of the way everything went.
Well, I can definitely tell you're an announcer, Jason, because you're probably one of the best interviews we've had here in the world. Thanks for talking about everything there. I mean, your car, the win, the incidents, that was it was great to know how that race went down from the seat. I really don't know what much else to tell you except congratulations on your win. I know I said that earlier, and you're not too thrilled by it, but it does lock you into the chase at the end of the season.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Samuel. I don't know that we're running enough races to be chase eligible, so we'll just kind of see how the schedule plays out. I got a lot of other things going on, so I'm just kind of picking my races here in all 3 series. But again, like I said, not real proud of how it went. A big thank you to GSRC for everything they do, both here and over with the Lionheart IndyCar Series. Hope everybody tunes in on Wednesday night for our All-Star race there and throughout the season. And again, a big thank you to James and Ricky and everybody. I know all the hard work they went into this, and I'm sure I'm far from their favorite person on planet Earth right now. But hopefully they sleep it off and they can pay me back the next time I'm in a short track race. I won't say a thing about it. I know I got something coming there. And again, big thank you to everybody, and a shout out to Laura Lawson. I don't know her personally. Honestly, didn't know a lot about her until a couple months ago. But everybody on planet Earth knows somebody who's battling cancer, fought cancer, survived cancer. The best man at my wedding survived lymphoma at 23 years old. So if he can do it, she can do it. And we're all pulling for her. It doesn't matter if you know him or not. It's a horrible disease no matter which form of it you have. And I hope that we did some good for her tonight here and this week, and that she pulls through it. And just again, big thank you to everybody out there, my teammates, everybody that sponsors the race car. And we'll move on and try to win one that's not as controversial and maybe goes green to the end.
Words well spoken there, Jason. We echo those sentiments and look forward to seeing you at the next race.
All right, Samuel. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
So that was your race winner, Jason Garvin, and as we've beat the dead horse on this here, Smithy, he was involved in an incident with race leader James Kahula, who came back to finish 5th place, and you, Smithy, have caught up with Kahula.
Indeed, I have. And James, obviously, leading the most laps there, being out front, not finishing first kind of stings. It's got to anyway. But hey, you came back up and finished 5th. Already got a W on the books for the chase. What was it about, or what is the rest of the season about for you? And and for your championship hopes?
Well, definitely, this has been a real fun series. The kind of the last bit of the race there has not been how our races have been going, but it's short tracks, high tempers, and everything like that. So really, we just want to go out. The schedule is real fun. Because I helped make it, so I think it's fun anyway. Kind of goes back to the old Grand National type schedule. Going to the Milwaukee Mile. We'll be heading back to Lucas Oil Raceway later in the year. We'll be going to South Boston too. It's just tracks like that, and I think that's why a lot of these guys are coming here and racing, because they want a fun schedule, and I want to try and get as many wins as I can. It was a lot of fun here tonight for sure.
Well, obviously you put on a show being out the sharp end all race long. We see on the hood of the car there the race for Laura. Tell us a little bit more about how that's going on with the GoFundMe and like that with the Laura Lymphoma awareness at 125 tonight. And tell us a little bit more about that GoFundMe and what you guys got going on here at PRL.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a lot of those guys that run our league, a lot of the steel horse racing guys, and a couple other people too, they race in over at LSR TV a lot, and they're so they know Laura really well. And when this came about, we heard about it. It's like, well, what can we do to help? So we decided that we were gonna give her our cup race that's going to be here tomorrow night live at Phoenix, and then later on we realized like, oh well, we're going to get a Grand National race too. It was like, well, let's just dedicate the whole week to her. So let's just try and get that GoFundMe completely filled up by the end of this week. Everyone over on the LSR TV crowd, they for sure know about Laura, and they've been helping out a bunch. Well. And I got to definitely thank GSRC a lot, because I came to them and I said, hey, I know Laura, LSR TV and everything. And they're, right away, everyone, all the partners over at GSRC is just like, absolutely, let's do what we need to help her out. So we're just bringing it to a new audience here tonight with everyone. And this is what the race is all about. We ran great. I'm not too happy with how the race wound up finishing. But that doesn't matter, because the important thing was is getting out there and racing for her tonight and trying to raise some money. We're going to do it again tomorrow night. So that's the important thing to take away from tonight.
Well, James, thanks for that. And it's really cool what you guys are doing here at PRL. And what are we going to see here for the rest of the year? As you say, you got 3 different series going on. A lot of stuff going on with your guys' series and different championships and whatnot. If someone wanted to get involved here, how are they going to jump in and get some more races in with you guys?
Absolutely. Head over to our Facebook page, Premier Racing League. You can also check out our website. That's where you can sign up at thepremierracingleague.com. We have our incident system and everything. It's real strict here. We don't go to these easy tracks. We run a lot of our races in the daytime, where it's nice and slick. So this is for those guys that like a challenge, like to race hard, like to race clean, and those are the people that are gonna find a good home over here. So if that sounds fun to you, and the challenge sounds fun, head on over. You're the type of person we want over here running our league. So we're real excited with all 3 of our series. Of course, we're going to be running a good majority of the rest of our the Coastal Safety Auditors Grand National Series here. We're going to be here on the weeks that the Audubon Motorcar Group is off. And then our entire schedule on Tuesday nights for the Advocare Cup Series will be broadcasted on here. We might throw in a couple Sportsman Truck Series races here too. Amazing support from everyone here so far. Just really excited to go forward with this fun schedule, these great drivers and everything. Because man, it's just a lot of fun, and racing with Ryan Howard and Jake Wright there at the end or at the beginning of this race. Man, the racing was so close, and man, we were not giving any inch to each other, and it was just very fun racing.
Well, thanks again, James. Appreciate everything you're saying there, and hopefully we get a lot more of these races under the belt. They're going to go green. That's going to do it for our driver interviews. Sam, you want to take us home?
Yeah, absolutely. So, It was Jason Galvin who came home with a victory here today at Irwindale Speedway. You just witnessed round 4 of the 2016 Premier Racing League Coastal Safety Auditors Grand National Series. This was the 4th round, the race for Laura Lymphoma Awareness 125. And as James and Jason and everyone in the series has mentioned and is thinking about today, we wish Laura the best in her fight with cancer. And we really hope we put on a great show here for her tonight. We know the first half of the show was definitely great, a few cautions at the end there, but at the end of the day, a good win by Jason Galvin, even though I know there was an incident involved with James Kahula, and we'll see where the rest of the season goes. They'll be back in 1 week's time at Auto Club Speedway, and by the way, there is sponsorship available for that race if anyone out there is interested in sponsoring them. We would like to thank the organisers and competitors in the Premier Racing League Coastal Safety Auditors Grand National Series for coming here tonight and putting on a great show. We would like to thank the makers for the various software and hardware that you see on your screen. Thanks to the team today, we have Smithy, Joe Peak and our camera guru Dougie Beard helping us out. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and upcoming broadcasts. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel, and also of course YouTube, where you can find the link in the description of this video to go and help out the Laura Lymphoma Awareness cause. Oh, apologies there, I had to... A lot of words here, a lot of people to thank, a lot of people who make us happen, including Eric Coleman and Casey Lalonde, who provide us with our music. You can buy Eric's on iTunes and Spotify, and Casey's at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. We have all of our upcoming races for our other series on screen, so be sure to check those out and mark them down on your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.